and I'm gonna go ahead and is I'm more familiar with Zoom at this point. I believe you guys should be able to see my screen now. Looking at the JobsEQ homepage here. All right, so I'm just going to give a brief little overview of the homepage just to get us started here, and then we will jump into all of our fun notes here. So our homepage, we have our frequently used tools are going to be at the top there. So your most recently used tools are going to show up on this little bar here. All the tools that you have available to you are going to be below that, set up into some different categories. Just to point out the reports category, this is where those ready-made reports are located, where you're able to go in, push a couple buttons, and have it generate those reports for you. We'll definitely take a look at one of those towards the end, or a couple of them towards the end of our session here. So our first, the first thing I'd like to touch on, I think, is with those opportunity zones. So you had mentioned like the census tracts. So with your guys' current license, I believe you're only going to be able to create so we can create custom regions within JobsEQ. So you could spec out those different regions that you want to focus on individually. So we could break up El Paso County, we could break up different aspects of the state and areas that you guys are wanting to look at. But within these, within building these custom regions, we have to choose our building blocks for the custom regions. So our options here are going to be county or ZICTA, but we do have for an upgrade the block level data, which is going to allow you to be able to build out those very specific lower level census tracts. So right now with your current license, you'd be able to build ZICTA based regions, so those zip code based regions, but to get even smaller and more detailed, you're going to need that block level, if that makes sense. But we definitely can look at building out some custom regions at the ZICTA level to give you guys an idea. And then if you decide you need that block level data, we can always get you in contact with your CRM and get that set up in the future here. So are we familiar with building custom regions? Have we messed with that at all within JobsEQ, or would we like to go over a refresher on that?
Yes, please. A refresher would be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yep, so I'm just going to start with the basic level and just build my way to the more specific regions. So to start, which is the most common one that I'll see, is individuals building county-based regions. So whether we're looking at a service region of multiple counties, I know you guys serve El Paso County, so this might not be as applicable to you, but maybe you want to view El Paso and the surrounding counties. But we can select our counties on the map, and they're going to show up over here as they're being added to our custom region. So we can click them if we're very familiar with the map we're reviewing. We can also type the regions. So I can go ahead over here and type El Paso County and then Texas. Go ahead and hit enter, and then it's going to highlight that county for me and add it to my selected regions. So we could add a couple other, whatever it might be. You can also do this at the ZICTA level. So if you're working with a ZICTA level region, we can change this region resolution to ZICTA. So then we can view at that ZICTA level, we can either click them or we could type them if we know which ZICTAs belong to each of our specific regions there. And then I can show you guys how to break out El Paso by all of the ZICTAs so that you can view that complete list as well.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, we'll look at that in Data Explorer. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Cool. But yeah, so those are the basic functionalities to build by just those existing region types. The other options that you have here are going to be radius or drive time, or there's this draw function as well, where you can click and you can draw a polygon, and then it's going to include what's in that range there. So with these, when you go into build custom regions, it's going to default to county-based regions. So if we were to create this radius or drive time, we would put in the amount of time we want for our drive time or the range for the measurement for our radius. And then we can enter an address, latitude, longitude, or click a place on the map. So I have, I believe, the address for your economic development building. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in here. And then we can hit run. So that's going to put the center point at our address here. And then the this orange spider webbing blob that we have is going to be our drive time region. So the thing we need to be aware of here is that, as I discussed before, this region resolution is the building blocks that will be utilized to build our region. So in this case, to compile this final region, it's going to pull data from every county that it's touching, since we are in this county resolution. Once I change that to the ZICTA, now we're using ZICTAs as those building blocks. So instead of pulling in the entire county, it's pulling the ZICTAs that it touches. So just something to keep in mind. And then we can make that even more specific. If we had that block level data, we could pull it down to those census block level and make it even more specific. So with these, we would just have to make sure that we gave them a name. So I'm just going to save this so we can see what the final region is going to look like. So, and then something else to mention, there's this share this region button here. If you click that, it's going to share the region you create with everyone on your license. So if you guys go through and you zone out El Paso and you get it into those groups, whoever goes through and does that can hit this share this region, and then everyone else on your license will have access to those custom regions. They won't have the ability to go in and edit them, but they'll be able to search for them by name within the different analytics around JobsEQ without building that themselves.
Okay.
So then I am going to hit save. So this will save and compile so that we can see what the final region looks like. So orange blob down here, but now we have this region preview at the top since we've compiled the region, and it's going to show us, okay, here's what that final region is going to look like, pulling in data from those ZICTAs that it touches or crosses. So looking at this, if we decide, all right, maybe I don't want this part that juts way out to the north here, maybe that's too far outside of my zone that I'm looking for, I can go back into my editor here, and with the select tool, maybe I don't want this part that it's going into, this ZICTA here. I can click on that ZICTA. And then over here on the right with the advanced edit tool, I can exclude that region. So then when it compiles, it won't include that ZICTA. So if I go back in and save again and look at our region preview, now that part that juts out to the north is not included. So if you guys go through with this at the ZICTA level, that exclusion may be helpful as you're defining those different regions.
Okay.
Any questions on any of that?
What is the application for this entire kind of like functionality? Like what type of reports have you seen? Because I don't understand the application, to be honest with you.
Okay, so this is allowing us to create those custom regions. So then when we go into the analytics within JobsEQ, it's going to compile the data for our custom region. So instead of having to pull the data for each ZICTA included in our zone, we could add those ZICTAs together, and then it's going to compile that data for the region. So with like the drive time like this, it might be more for like, we want to see the labor availability around within a specific drive time of a specific address, maybe where an employer is looking to start or where they're planning to open a new branch or whatever it might be. We can take a look at the employment or the labor force that exists within so far around that location.
Jessica, is there a way that you could help us right now walk over a precinct, like selecting precincts? Does the tool allows you to dissect and select by precinct?
I don't believe we have precincts worked into JobsEQ. Are those connected to the census tracts?
They should.
Okay, that's what I don't think.
Because yeah, every county has the entire state has about 140 something counties, and every county has 4 precincts. That's by law.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's something, I mean, this is a big request because it would cascade into a national level thing, but I mean, it's just very practical for us.
Yes. So as far as I know, we don't have those precincts built into JobsEQ. And if I'm trying,
So
just
what
write-
if what if we share with you the zip codes that are within the precinct?
yeah,
Can we,
yep,
okay,
that
by
would be
zip
awesome.
code, we can dissect by zip code?
Yes, we definitely can do that. Um,
How do
yes,
we
and it,
enter it? Uh-huh.
yep. So if we have like, if you guys have like the list of them that you're going to tell me, we can use this bulk import and I can just type out like Zicta with the numbers after them. Or we can do it by the type region here as well. But do you have the list of zip codes or do you want me to generate a list of zip codes for
Oh, if you could
Zictas?
show us how to generate the list of zip codes by
Yep.
pressing, that would be great.
Yep. So we're gonna leave this for a moment. We're gonna run over to Data Explorer. So this is the one we talked about where we can build out our own tables.
Uh-huh.
So something that we can do here is, so I have my region here on the right set to El Paso County,
Uh-huh.
Texas. So I can hit this plus sign here to add that dimension to the table. And then that's where it'll let me expand that dimension. So since I'm looking at El Paso County, Texas here, I can break that down by its zictas here, which are those zip code tabulation areas. So if I go to click on that, it's going to generate that list of all the zictas that exist within El Paso County. So it's just one way to use this application to generate those kind of lists. You could do the same thing with like the state. If you want to view data for every county, you could put Texas in here and then use the drop down to choose all the counties. So like we could view like the employment for all of those zictas if we wanted to, adding that employment value to the table. But then we could export this list and have that whole list of all the zictas that exist within our county.
And Jessica, just to clarify, how would I know that I'm selecting only precinct one zictas, or yeah?
And yeah, so that's where we don't have those precincts built into JobsEQ. So I don't have a way directly within JobsEQ to know which zictas belong to each precinct.
Oh,
I
okay.
will definitely, I will put that in as like a note to our product team to look into adding in the future, because I'm sure that's not the first time if this is something that obviously every state, every county has, it would probably be something that would be beneficial to have within JobsEQ. So I definitely will put a note into the team to look into adding that in the future. But then as far as that goes, I don't know, would there be like a secondary source that we could use to group these possibly?
No, not that I can think of. I think the best way for us that would really truly work would be by precinct. But yeah, let's continue. This is very helpful.
And then I'll look more into the precincts after we're done as well, and then provide you with any additional information that I can find.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So since we are in Data Explorer, do we want to take a look at this, or do we want to jump back to?
Oh, let's go ahead and jump back for purposes of the agenda that we created in the recording. Thank you.
Sounds great. Yes. So, do we have any other questions? Not maps. I'm so sorry. With those building those custom regions, do we have any other questions about those at the moment?
Yes, can we see the poverty level and any other characteristics that on this opportunity zone type of category?
Yes. So, so once you have those different regions built out, you'll be able to do we want to make like a mock one so then we can utilize it within the other analytics? A mock custom region, just group a couple counties or a couple zictas together so we can view the data
Sure.
with those custom regions. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just gonna go into here And then I should have left that list up.
Can we generate it for the entire county? Like to see the poverty levels on different sections of the county?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that part?
Yes, so since we want to see the poverty level, can we just see it on the overall county function,
Yes, I see what you're saying. So the overall poverty level for
the county?
the county. Yes. So demographics profile is going to be a really great place for us to get all of those demographic data points, such as poverty level and such. So demographics profile here, this runs off of the American Community Survey data. So currently we are still looking at the 2019 to 2023 data, just so you're aware. We are in the process of updating to the 2024 5-year estimate now that that was released earlier this month. That's set to come out in March, that update. So just so that you're aware, these data points should be being updated very soon. But so if we're looking for our poverty levels, so within our summary table here, this analytic is made up of a couple different tables. We have summary, unemployed, household income, and then region stats. But within our summary table here, if we scroll down towards the bottom, it's going to have these social data points, and within that we have the poverty level. So we have those who are living below the poverty level within El Paso County. Looking at the county as a whole, we have about that 19% who are living under the poverty level. If we want to, I'm guessing then break this out by our different zip codes within our region to view that. If we click on this poverty, the blue hyperlink here, it's going to take us to the maps analytic, and it's going to show us the poverty level broken down by ZICDAs now. So instead of just looking at the county, we would be breaking it down by the ZICDAs within the county. So with maps, our queries live at the top here. So I can hit this little gear icon to bring up my settings for my query. And I'm just going to go, this is the display settings page. I'm going to go over to the query. And then I'm going to have it, instead of showing me percentages, I want to see the number of how many individuals are living there under the poverty level. And then I can hit OK. And then that's just changing those to numbers. We can see here in our legend in the corner. So then we can add values to this map. So if we wanted to use this map in a presentation or something, up here it has labels, and then we can change that to value, name, or both. So either it's showing us the values, it's showing us the name of the region, or both of those. And then we can hit all, and it's going to add those values to the map.
Oh, wow, great.
And then if we were to export this to Excel, it's going to give us, hey, here's ZICDA 7982, and there are 934 people living there under the poverty level, or the percentage if you have it set up that way. So it'll give you each of those individual data points in Excel.
Okay.
So that's definitely going to be the quickest way to pull bulk data for any of our demographics data points.
Okay.
Any questions on that process?
No, that's super
Nope.
helpful. Thank you for showing us that.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. And like, you don't have to go from demographic profile to here. You could just set up your own query from maps. So if we're just in the maps analytic, up here we can hit this where the plus sign by data to set up a new query. And then you'll see we have the demographics data set that we were just looking at. But we also have basically any data set within JobsEQ that can be viewed on a map is included within the maps analytic. So if you're trying to view, we can look at the employment in different industries, location quotient, or the establishments within different regions. So we can look at El Paso County broken down at the ZICDA level, and we can view different industry data. Or we can view different occupation data.
Please show us, could you show us the employment, the LQ and the establishments? That is critical for us.
Yes,
I'm
for
glad
sure.
that you touched on the fields. Thank you.
Yeah. So with this one, with the maps analytic, we'd have to view them each individually as it's only pulling one value at a time. But we can set up more complex tables within Data Explorer where we can view all of these data points together. But just to show for an example, if we wanted to see the employment within El Paso County, Texas, and then I'm going to put us down to the ZICTA level. So we're looking at those zip codes within El Paso County. And then I'm just going to leave it all industries just so we can take a look and hit OK. So then it's going to show us where those different workers are, where the different concentrations of employment are. So we have our little legend over here. We can hit our labels, and we can add those to the table theoretically, but it's mad at me right now. Sometimes Maps is silly and it does this and it just needs reloaded. They're constantly updating it to make it better, and it's just one of those things. There's just so many different layers going on that sometimes something gets a little wonky there. But we can export it to Excel to view those specific data points.
Oh, great.
For that region and our values there. So any of those, there's, like I said, every data set basically within JobsEQ that can be put on a map is within Maps. Was there anything else you guys wanted to see here? Maybe something with like unemployment, or we have commuting data within here.
Yeah, the establishment component is very critical for us in employment, and so based on needs, number one, establishments, number two, employment, number three, the location quotient. So if we could just see like an example of the number of establishments and employment, and how to export both of them, or how to you mentioned that we have to export each one of them separately. I don't think we can do it together, but if we could do it together, that'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely look at it. I just refreshed my page, so hopefully those labels come back for me. But yes, so for industry, so I'll start with that employment because we didn't really get to view that whole example. County and ZICTA. And then was there a specific industry you wanted to take a look at, or was total all industry okay for the example?
Let's do mom and pops would be more, does it break it down into like services or retail? Then yeah, retail and manufacturing.
Okay. I'm not sure that we have a pre-built cluster that's going to include both of those. So if you wanted to view those data together, so we have a lot of pre-built. Yes.
Yeah, let's do total industries then.
Okay. But we can look at how to create those custom industry groups so that you can group them how you'd like to view those different industry groups together.
Would that be in the Data Explorer?
We can do it in Data Explorer, but to have them aggregated together, you know how we built that custom region, how we were looking at those, we can build custom industry groups in that same section. We'll take a look at that next.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep. So yep. So then for the employment, I'm gonna hit OK. And theoretically, I'm going to hit both here and all, and it's, yeah, there we go. So those labels are showing up for us here. So these are the employment values for total industries for these ZICTAs within El Paso County, Texas. So then we can go over to our export tab here. And then if we wanted this image, if we wanted the picture of our map here, we could export the image. But to get those specific data points, we're going to do data Excel. And then we go ahead and hit export there. And then this is going to go to our downloads. And then we'll see if it lets. I might have to share this other screen here. And that's what the exported data looks like. So we have the FIPS code, we have the ZICTA, and then we have the employment value. Then we can follow the same process for our other two options that we had there. So instead of looking at, oops, I can just go in. So I don't have to delete and start over here. I can go in and edit the query. And then instead of employment, I can just click LQ. So we go to the next one here. I don't know why that changed the state. I'm going to change it to ZICTA. Go ahead and hit run. Now we are looking at, why are they? Oh, they're all one because we're talking about total all industry. It's not super helpful. There we go. So when we're looking at that total all industry, that's going to be one because we're just looking at total all industry. So in this case, we're looking at a section of the employment out of the total. So we're looking at the LQ for manufacturing here. So it has our ZICTAs and then our LQs. So we have the ZICTA up at the this north corner here. That is a 2.5. We got a 2.58 here. So some places where that manufacturing employment is more concentrated. And then just like with the other one, we can go to export and export the data to Excel.
Right.
And then same thing with our last one. We can go in here and change that to establishments. Go ahead and hit OK. And in this case, oh, why did it do it that way?
And that will be displaying all industries or only there we go. Thank you.
Yeah. So, establishment counts are only available down to the county level. That's
okay.
Yep. You guys, yeah. So the establishment counts are because they're available down to the county level. Trying to think. You guys have RTI, which could help us a little bit with that, like breaking them out by ZICTAs.
That will be that'll be. I mean, that'll be very helpful because everything over here is by precinct. All the studies, all the policy, and even the opportunity zones that we're speaking about. We need to justify by those areas.
Yeah. So the establishment data set's only going to go to the county, so that's not going to be super helpful for those precincts. But we can look at. Sorry.
Can we see how it looks?
Oh, yep. For the establishments.
Yeah.
So it's only going to show for the county. So it's just going to show the county all valid. It's just the total there. So
what about if you select a specific industry such as manufacturing?
Yeah, it caps at the county level, so it's going to show us how many there are for the county. Because that's 625. Yeah. So that's unfortunate with our establishments data set. But I think we can leverage RTI to help us to determine those like how many employers there are at a lower level. But at the same point, that's not going to be every employer. That's just going to be the ones that are posting jobs. The other option we would have within JobsEQ would be Data Explorer or employer database.
Okay.
Which employer database is an add-on, but I have heard from some other clients that I've worked with that sometimes the public libraries will have these kind of employer data sets. So this is not one that is maintained by us. This is maintained by Database USA. But you can, so this is the preview. Let me log into my other account here so that we can see the actual full view. But essentially, employer database will allow you to search within a region. So the region goes down to the county level here, but then we can put in like our city names or it's going to give us the zip codes where they're located. So for instance, if I wanted to look at manufacturing jobs, manufacturing employers within El Paso County, I can go ahead and hit run here. And then it's going to generate the list of employers within El Paso County, Texas, that are connected to the manufacturing industry. And so this data here within the table is a shortened version of what you would get from the full export. It's going to give you a lot more information about different executives and owners and all kinds of things. But the most important thing I think to you guys here would be the zip code data that you could get from this, which you could then leverage to show the how many employers there are within these different zip codes, which are then connected to those different precincts.
Is that view available through our license?
It would be an upgrade.
Oh,
Yeah, so you would have access to, go back, the preview version, which I don't know if that gives us. Oh, that does give us this. Oh, it only shows us top 10 though. That's not really helpful. Yeah, so I think so to get the data that I believe that you would need for those establishment counts at the zip code level, you would need the full version here, or like I said, you might be able to check and see what like resources are available as far as like the employer database tracking goes with at like your public library or something like that. I've heard that they have similar tracking systems. But again, Database USA was the one that when our company did all of their research that we found to be the best. So,
okay.
but if that's something you're interested in, I can have your CRM, Sean, reach out later with a demo or something if you'd like.
Yes, so yeah, let's keep moving forward to take full advantage, and yeah, we'll leave it for on the side because right now we have a budget and stuff, but we need it.
Yeah, I think that this would be really helpful for, you know, being able to view how many establishments are per zip code.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will just mention to him that you guys might be interested, and then he can reach out and you guys can coordinate that with him.
Okay.
Does that sound okay? Okay. Yeah, because then this will export to Excel, and then, you know, you could, you know, run different pivot tables and such to group those different zip codes to see how many there are per zip code. And then you can group your zip codes by your precincts and so on from there.
Yeah, and then do VLOOKUPs and assign the precinct. So yeah, it's really helpful for what we needed, but yeah.
Awesome. And then, yeah, I will definitely look into see if I can find some way, if I can find some easy way to break up those precincts by ZICTA for you guys once we're done here too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah. And then I believe I have your email.
Oh, okay, great.
Because we were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Just so I make sure so I don't go to email you later and I don't have that. Okay. Okay. So any other questions here at the moment with what we're looking at with employer
No, I think we're good. And we cover the opportunity zone. So let's move to the quadrants and major employees for the state and the county of El Paso.
Sounds good. So to get the those actual employers, that's also going to be within that employer database. So that will allow you to, just to segue back to it again, I'm sorry, but they will give you, so in here it had, in the preview that before you export it, it tells you a range of employment for the company, but when you export to Excel, it's going to show you the exact like estimate of their employees at the time that this data was taken. So you'll get those actual employment values per employer, so then you'll be able to sort that list and you can view who those largest employers are per different NAICS codes and so on.
For the record, Jessica,
yeah.
Is this available in our license?
Not currently. You guys don't have access to it currently, but you could have it as an add-on to your license.
Okay, can you then like cover what we have on the license, because that's the other so yes, it is very important to know the capabilities of the JobsEQ, but
Mhm.
because we're going to be watching the recording,
Mhm.
we want to make sure that imagine seeing the
Oh, for
recording
sure.
and then pushing the buttons and seeing and then not being able to see the things that you're showing us. That'll be kind of like very sad and confusing for us later on.
Yes, I apologize.
No, no
But yeah, I
worries.
just, yep. But yeah, so things that you have available to you that you can utilize as far as this goes. So we definitely can see the industries or the occupations that are, like, for instance, here we have our industry snapshot. So this will not be connected to specific employers, but it's going to be connected to the industries that they're then a part of. So like if we were interested, let's say, on our manufacturing industry here,
Mhm.
and I wanted to view the specific industries within the manufacturing industry, I could go down here to the snakes level and change that from 2 to 6. So we're looking at the very detailed industries underneath the manufacturing industry. And I can hit run here. So this is going to give us, so each row of the table is going to correspond to the next code to the left here. So we have our footwear manufacturing, which is the largest employed manufacturing within El Paso County, Texas. The table sorts by highest employment to lowest employment. These employment values are a 4-quarter moving average in an attempt to remove seasonality from the data set. And then they stem from the quarterly census of employment and wages, which do not account for full-time and part-time workers. They're both included in this value. So there's not a specification between full-time and part-time workers. But that is the current employment. And then we have as of 2025 quarter three. And then we have average wage values. We have the location quotient for that specific industry. This analytic can go down to that zip code level. So we could look at these data for a zip code or a group of zip codes as well. So if you have one of those opportunity zones worked out in a custom region later, you can throw that custom region in here at that lower level and be able to pull all of these data points. So that is our current data there. And then it gives us a little history of how the industry has trended over time. So it defaults to a 5-year history, but you can change that in the query window anywhere from 1 to 10 years. It's going to give you how much the employment has changed over that time period. So our footwear manufacturing has grown by almost 400 employees over the last 5 years. There's a nice little trend chart that shows how that employment has trended. So we can see how that's grown, how this one's decreased, and then it gives us our annual percentage change. So per year over the last 5 years, footwear manufacturing has grown by about 11.4% per year. And then any of these yep.
How did you mention that we can customize by region? Let's say we come up with the zip codes for precinct 1, or the sectors for precinct 1. How can we add it in order to customize a view of the industry snapshot?
Yeah, so that would be back in where customs, where we were looking at those custom regions.
Uh-huh.
So we would hit new here, and
Oh,
then you could change your region resolution to ZICTA, add those couple ZICTAs that are within our opportunity zone, name it
oh,
opportunity zone 1, and then we'd be able to find that once we save it within our analytics.
got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so going back again to the industry snapshot, is this function currently available under our license?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. So then along with the history section, it's going to give you a little forecast. It defaults to a 1-year forecast, but you can change that within the query window anywhere from 1 to 10 years with our projection years here. And then that's going to give us the total demand for our forecast period, which is made up of the next 3 columns added together. So it's going to be our exits plus transfers plus employment growth. Exits are defined as by the BLS as positions that will need filled due to individuals exiting the workforce. So within the next year, 43 individuals are projected to exit the workforce. So from this industry, so whether they're retiring, going back to school, starting a family, they're completely done working, their positions will need filled. Transfers are individuals whose positions will need filled because they're transferring from one field to another. So they're transferring out of footwear manufacturing and into something else. So their positions will need filled.
Okay.
Yep. And then we lastly have that employment growth. So that's the growth or contraction over the next year in this case. So even though we're looking to lose a couple employees, we still have positions that will need filled due to that total demand, due to those exits and transfers. And then we have that annual percentage growth rate as well, or contraction rate.
And where can we see the glossary of the exit, the transfer, the employment? We might need this in order to define our methodology for whenever we're pulling information and building reports.
Yeah, for sure. So any analytic that you're in, if you go up to the top, there's this help and resources, this question mark icon. If you click on that, it's going to show you any videos that are available for help. So like within Data Explorer, where you're building those tables, it's going to have a couple different tutorials to help you. But then there's also underneath Get JobsEQ Help, this help documentation button. So since we're in Industry Snapshot, it's giving us the help documentation for Industry Snapshot. So if we click on that, it's going to take us to that help page. It's going to give us technical notes about the data set. It's going to give us those different definitions. So within the current section, here are different values, historical, different values, and then those forecasts, total demand, exits, transfers, employment growth. And then the majority of the pages end with some frequently asked questions that you might find helpful as well.
Great, awesome.
Yeah, and then if there's ever anything you can't find, you can always use the live chat as well and reach out to us. We're available 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then if you reach out to us outside of that time, we'll get back to you within the next 24 hours. But we're always there to help with those different technical questions. So anything you have questions about that you don't find in the help documentation, feel free to reach out.
Okay, and how can we compare state and local?
Yes. So within this table itself, we have a little comparison piece here where we can add some different regions. It's going to default to the state and the nation, but you could put like, ZICTA, the county, and then the state if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run here just so we can see. But this only adds in with that historical piece for this particular table. Data Explorer is going to be a really great place for us to compare all this stuff across the different, like all of the data points but this is one of the places where that comparison slides in, but it's not a complete comparison in this case.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions about Industry Snapshot?
No, we can move forward.
I'm so sorry, but there's one other thing I want to mention. We can look at specific employment types because I know you had mentioned federal employment at one point versus just the different types of employment that are prevalent within the state. So instead of looking at total employment here, we could look at a different subsect of employment. So we could take a look at the private employment, those who are self-employed, our federal government employees. So if we wanted to get those different snapshots, we could do that within that employment type.
Oh, that'll be great. How do we see it?
Yes, so I'm just gonna do total all industries at the 2-digit level, just so we can get an idea here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click federal government. So then if I hit run here, it's going to show us our different industries that have that federal government employment, which our public administration is the highest there, which makes sense. And it shows us those same data points then, but just for our federal government employees.
Okay.
And then, and then if we were like, all right, I want to dive deeper into public administration, then since I have such a high employment there, I could go up to my industry, change that to public administration, change this to our 6-digit, and then I can look at those specific industries underneath our public administration, but still looking at just our federal government employees.
Got it. Okay.
And then these are all things that we can do within Data Explorer too. But this is just kind of like those ready-made charts.
Okay, so yeah, we can compare federal against state and local, like the top 5, right?
Yes,
the top 5 employment.
By the different ownerships, different employment types. Yes, we can do that within Data Explorer.
Okay.
But I mean, you could run these tables, right, for the couple different, you could run just the total all industries at the 2-digit level for the different employment types. That could be another way to do it as well. If these are the data points that you're looking for, you could just run a couple different tables, but we'll set it up in Data Explorer where we can pull everything we're interested in at once.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
The next
we
one
want-
is, yeah, the comprehensive report.
Yep. So jumping back to our homepage here. So we have these reports here. Economic overview report is going to be the most comprehensive for the region. So in this case, essentially what these reports do is they are pulling from the different analytics around JobsEQ and putting them into this ready-made report. So you'll notice here we have this checklist here are the different sections that exist within the report. We have that demographic profile, which is one of the analytics we took a look at where we found the poverty level at. Employment and wage trends is another analytic. But yeah, so we had the industry snapshot that we just looked at. So these are all the things that will be included within the report. You can deselect any of these if you don't want them included, just for reference, and we can also move them around using those dots.
Okay, great.
Yep, if you add your company logo and info to JobsEQ, you can click this and it'll make a it'll make a custom cover sheet for you as well.
That's great.
Yep. So we have to choose our region and then 2 comparison regions. So I'm just gonna leave this as Texas, as El Paso, Texas, and USA, if that sounds all right.
Yes.
And then since we have that industry snapshot, it has our historical and forecast years, so we could change those if we wanted to. And then it asks us if we want a PDF or a Word doc, and I'm just going to leave it as PDF. So with these, when you hit run, why is that not showing up there? Okay, so when you export these larger reports, they need to process in the background for a little bit, and then they'll be ready to export. They usually just take a couple of minutes. The only thing that's going to slow that down is if we have a bunch of different license all clicking run at the same time for these reports, and it just may take a couple extra minutes as the system processes through those different reports. But once it is ready, you're going to get a red dot up here by your exports that says, hey, there's an export that's ready to be looked at. While that's downloading and working, you can keep doing other things on JobsEQ. You can leave JobsEQ and come back, and it'll be ready when you return. It'll keep
Jessica, would you not mind dropping that exported report into the chat so I can print it and read it during the weekend since it's coming hot and ready from the oven?
Definitely do that. Let's see.
Thank you.
I think because this is on. I opened it in 4 different tabs there. My Teams knowledge is not. I need a training session on Teams. All right, let's see. Chat. I'm gonna check that, I believe. Just before we're done, let me know if it works or not. All right, so just to page through this real quick so we can just take a quick overview look. So this is the where that cover page will be with your info if you choose to add it. And then it gives us a nice little table of contents that says, hey, here's what's included in our report. It starts with the demographic profile, it gives us a little blurb, and then it's giving us the data from demographic profile, and it's giving us each of the data points for our county, the state, and the nation. So we can compare all of those data points side by side there. And then we also can do that within demographic profile itself too. And then it's giving us some employment trends. This comes from our labor and wage trends analytic. It's giving us employment trends for the region, the unemployment trends, wage trends, and then cost of living index. And then we get our industry snapshot. So that's the last one we looked at. It's going to give us a little blurb first, show us where our which industry sectors are the most popular within our region. And then it gives us the information from that table. And then it gives us the occupation snapshot. So this is super similar to industry snapshot, except we're talking about occupations. So it gives us a little blurb, and then it gives us that data. And then it gives us some information from the industry clusters analytic, which is essentially just looking at our 2-digit NAICS codes. And we're looking at their location quotient along with their average annual employment forecast and their average wages. So it's a way that we can look at how the different industry sectors stand up against each other within our regions.
Okay.
And then education levels within our region. Some GDP information. And then it says, hey, here's the region we're looking at. And then any frequently asked questions that pertain to the data within the report.
Thank you, Jessica. Going back again, I do recall from previous years that there was a location quotient within that had four quadrants. And you have your emerging industries and you have your cash cow industries. And where can we see that?
So the closest thing I'm thinking of here is the clusters analytic.
I think so. I do remember that word from the location quotient.
Here it is. Yeah. Yeah, so that's under a big picture here at the top. So I guess so what this does here, so we're looking, this is on the account, that's fine. Let's go to El Paso County. And then we're going to look at industry clusters. We're going to look at, so the size of the bubble is going to be determined by the location quotient. And then we're looking at a forecasted growth rate as opposed to historical growth rate. So those are some different options you have there. Yep. Okay. And then you can choose to add your own industry as well. So that you can add one industry to the table. So this is going by those 2-digit NAICS codes. So those overarching sectors. But let's say you wanted to compare like a 4 or 5 or 6-digit industry. Aerospace, yeah.
Yes.
Oops.
Aerospace and AI. Those two are the trending ones right now in this county. We have policy. We have a lot of a lot of inquiries related to those two. So if we could see any trends, if you could show us even later on the employer on the, what is it called, tables on the data explorer, how to see any information related to those two, AI and aerospace, besides our cash cow like construction and manufacturing. Even a comparison, Jessica, that would be great for us.
Okay. Yep, we can definitely dive into that as well. So would you like to see so there's this cluster that's aerospace vehicles and defense that we can take a look at right now, or have like the 5-digit aerospace parts and products and parts manufacturing?
Yes, products and parts, please.
Gotcha. So then I'm going to go ahead and hit run here. So we're looking at El Paso County, and it's showing us our 2-digit industries within there. So we have on our x-axis here, we have the average annual employment forecast. So this is how much the industry is forecasted to grow or I can't think of the word, decline. And then on our y-axis here, we have the average wages. So we can see something like our coal, oil, and power up here. It only has a location quotient of 0.75, but it has a positive growth rate here, forecasted rate, and then it is in our higher annual average wages. Our little gray dot here is our aerospace product and parts manufacturing. It is smaller because it only has 48 employees and it has a location quotient of 0.04. But we can see that it has almost has that 1% growth rate. and that higher average annual wage. So we can see that it's in that upper right quadrant of, hey, it's growing and it's making some good money. It's just not a very large industry at this point.
And AI,
Comparatively.
do we have anything for AI in El Paso?
So for AI itself is, we would consider that a skill rather than its own industry or occupation at this point. But we can utilize RTI, which you guys have access to identify industries that are requiring that AI skill, and then we could create like a custom industry group of the industries that are asking for AI from their employees.
Okay.
That makes sense. Which I could demo.
Jessica, would you not mind exporting that one and throwing it again on
Mhm.
the main chat? Thank you.
For sure.
By the way, I haven't seen the other report. I don't know if you had a chance.
Yeah, I sent it in the chat, but I'll double check when I go to send this one. Maybe it didn't.
And I just sent you a note on the chat for the meeting.
Oh, it says it failed to send. But it might be that PDF file is too large for the chat. I will try again. Just keep saying failed to send. I might have to just shoot them to you in an email.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving so you don't spend the time in the
Yeah, of
troubleshooting
course.
component. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Yep, I'll definitely send them over though via email after if we don't get them in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So were there any other questions with the cluster analytic here?
No, I think we can go into the comparison of census tract for employees if we have a function. If not, we can skip that one and go directly to the data explorer.
Gotcha. So for that comparison, is that like with where a certain track maybe have a average wage that is lower, higher than the surrounding areas?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what happens is that we have industries again, just to share with you the application. We have industries arriving into census tract that we know that they have a high poverty level. And our job is to convince our leadership that, look, first of all, this is a census tract that is kind of like marginated and with a poverty level. Yes, the company's not paying great jobs at the median county wage, but they're higher than that corresponding census tract. And that is the case that we're trying to do. So if we could have a demonstration within our license, the functionality and the steps, that would greatly appreciate it. I wouldn't be interested on like, if we don't have it, then we can skip it because we're gonna, for this year, we got our budget, we got some reductions, and I cannot add any add-ons for this year. So, yeah.
Understood. So,
Jessica, would that be under like labor market information and labor market reports? Like labor and wage?
oh yeah. But we're looking for like specific companies, correct? Like we want to know a specific employer, not just like an industry or occupation within a region. We want to know we want data for employers.
Yes, for example, and we can also do the example that Zonia is asking for. But let's say a manufacturing company arrives, advanced manufacturing, or a logistics company arrives. I would prefer manufacturing. And then to see like a poverty level census tract, and then we can say, look, this is a census tract that we have based on this area. And then we can compare it with the numbers that the company's giving us,
Gotcha.
and in that way we can do the comparison.
Understood. Thank you for that. Zania, was this the analytic that you were talking about, the labor and wage trends?
Yeah, because I used that when we're trying to look for occupations, and then I'm thinking from there we could see and go deeper dive into like the industries comparison, or I don't know if we could even pull businesses, that would be awesome, but I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so as far as the actual employers go, we can get, with your license, we could get an idea of wages from specific employers using RTI, that job postings database. But just talking industry in this case, our labor and wage trends here in the average wage cost of living data set here, we can view the average wages per industry. And you could, so once you have your census tract set up by those different ZICTA definitions, or when you have those so that opportunity zones mocked up and ready to go, you could throw that opportunity zone in here, or even in this case, if I want to throw, I don't even know, we could throw a ZICTA in there to view for a specific zip code. So we could say, hey, we have, you could make your custom region of your opportunity zone with your couple ZICTAs, run it for the specific industry that you're interested in. So like we were saying, a manufacturing industry coming into the area, paying less than what is average maybe for the industry, but then we can view for that specific region. It's going to give us the annual wages, but you can divide those by 2,080 to get the hourly rate if we're working with hourly rates. So this would be one way to view that ZICTA and that lower level data. So once you have those census tracts made within your custom regions, you can throw that custom region in here and view the average wages just for that region.
Okay. All right. Any questions, Zonia?
No questions. Thank you.
All right.
So yeah, so this is, oh, sorry.
Yes, no, that's great. I was gonna just thank you for that.
So that would be from the industry perspective. We also have occupation wages, which would be from the occupation side of things. But this is going to give us, obviously, again, it's from the occupation side. And if you're more interested in the industries, this would not be applicable. But this is something you do have access to. And it's going to show you a little more expansive of that wage data. So mean, entry level experience, along with those different percentiles. And then something else that this one can do that I always find interesting, we have this labor availability query type. So I'm just going to look at computer. Wait, no, we were talking about manufacturing. I don't even know. We're going to look at advanced manufacturing here. It's a cluster of the advanced manufacturing occupations. And then I'm going to put this at the 6-digit level so I can view the detailed occupations within that cluster, view some hourly wages, and we're going to set a threshold. So let's say $25 an hour is my threshold I'm setting here. I hit run. Maybe this isn't the best cluster for us to use. Oh, because I'm looking at the very small ZICTA, that's why. Sorry. Okay, so now we're looking at El Paso County, so we have a little more data here. But what this is doing is I set a wage threshold for $25 an hour. It's showing me each of these specific occupations that fall under my advanced manufacturing cluster here. It's showing me how many total employees there are for that occupation within the region, how many work at or below that threshold of $25 an hour, and how many work above that threshold. So this could definitely help with that of like, hey, this employer is paying this much, but within our region, here's how many individuals make more than that, or a lot of individuals are making less than that. So for instance, if I'm looking at, I guess these are all pretty, yeah, so we have like our first line supervisors of mechanic, installers, and repairs. We have only 333 individuals that work below that threshold. So if we're trying to hire that kind of individual or whatever, it may be hard to hire them at $25 an hour. We can see that the vast majority of individuals within this region in that field make more than that. But we can see vice versa too, with like our top example here of industrial production managers, that the majority, that's or above, sorry, that would be the same that we're talking about here. But we can see comparatively at our price point, how many people within the region, within specific occupations are making at or below or above that threshold. Sorry, that was a long-winded explanation. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
This is great. I'm making my notes and this is very, very helpful. So above threshold and below and then total. Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and it's cool. Awesome. And then I would like to take a look at RTI because I think that's going to help you guys to bridge some gaps in different places, especially when you talk about like the wanting jobs that are utilizing AI and such. Have you guys worked with RTI at all? Familiar with it?
Nope.
Okay, so RTI is our job postings database. We currently crawl over 40,000 different sources. Those sources include company websites, aggregators such as state job boards, LinkedIn, Indeed. And then once those jobs are crawled and downloaded, we deduplicate them against each other to ensure that just one copy of each job is making it through into our database. As we know, a company may post a job, they may post it on LinkedIn and Indeed and a bunch of other places. So we ensure that just one copy of that job posting is making it through. But again, as I mentioned earlier, this is obviously not a full scope of the jobs within a region, as there are jobs that are not posted online. There are websites that we probably don't crawl yet, despite our best efforts. So definitely that little bit to think about there. But taking a look at our results here, we're looking at El Paso County, Texas. The default is to show us job ads that were active during the time frame of the last 12 months. But depending on what you're looking at, you can look at newly posted during, closed during, currently active. But if we want to view, for instance, which jobs are asking for AI knowledge from their employees, AI skills, we're probably going to want to look at active during a larger time frame so that we can view over time which jobs are asking for those skills. So just to give an overview of the report before we make it specific to AI here, this is showing us all of the jobs that were active in the last 12 months in El Paso County, Texas here. So we have 52,000 jobs. They were assigned to 731 different occupations. And then we pull a bunch of information from the job postings. So we're pulling the location, the company name, the job title, any hard or soft skills that are asked for in the job posting, what industry those companies are connected to, if years of experience are asked for, education levels, education programs, certifications, and then what type of job it is. So to skip to the part that I feel is relevant for you guys, that's going to be these skills. We have the hard and soft skills. So any of these sections that we pull from these job postings, we can filter by. So we can go down to our hard skills here, and I can type in artificial intelligence, if I can spell artificial intelligence. And then we can apply, and then I can hit run here. So now it's only giving me job postings that are asking for that artificial intelligence skill. So you might have to mess around with the exact phrasing of your skill because maybe some job posting put just AI. So maybe I want both of those. Maybe I want to be more specific and put generative AI or whatever it might be. So you could build out that list of hard skills to be as expansive as you'd like. We can hit run here, and then it's going to give us occupations that are whose job postings are asking for those skills. The max rows it shows here, you can change that. But it looks like in this case, we just have a couple here within El Paso, Texas for just those two specific hard skills. But we're going to have the locations for those jobs. So reported location, you can also look at county, metro, state, region total. It's going to show us those specific companies who are asking for those skills within their job postings, the job titles, other hard and soft skills that they're asking for. And then it's going to show us the industries that those companies are connected to. So the display level here is 2-digit, but I believe we can work that out to like a 6-digit. Yeah. So you can see the specific NAICS codes that the companies who are asking for these hard skills, what industries they are connected to or working within.
Very interesting, very insightful.
Yep. So then from here, let's say we wanted to view these 4 industries together. So we're like, all right, these are our industries that we are cool. We're good with saying would like to see AI skills. Maybe I can't do that from here. Oh, that's so silly. Sorry. I thought I could build a custom region from there, or a custom industry group from there, but I can't. Okay, sorry. So what we can do here, though, we have our list of those 4 NAICS codes. I'm just going to go to JobsEQ, open another instance of JobsEQ here. So if we want to build a custom industry group, so we're just looking at those 4 industries, or like you mentioned earlier, looking at retail and manufacturing industries together, we can go over to our customs tab, go to custom industry here, create a new one. You could give it a name. So maybe I want to call this AI Industries. You can share it with anyone on your license, just like with the custom regions where they'll be able to utilize it as well. And then we can enter the name of those industries or those NAICS codes. So I'm just going to go back over here. And I can copy and paste. Or we can use the bulk import as well if we were to have exported this to Excel or something.
Oh, okay.
Or if you have like a list of different occupation or industries that you'd like to group together. So now that we have all of those added, we can go ahead and hit save. And now it's going to prompt us, say, hey, you can take a look at those industries grouped together in any of these different tools, or we could go back to our homepage and go to the tool we want. But for instance, if we wanted to look at our labor and wage trends, looking at those wages, our average wages, cost of living. So to get to those custom regions, we can, or custom industries, we can search for them here, or we can go to this explore industries. And then there's this this custom industries here at the top. And then any custom industries you create will show up there. Any that have been shared with you will show up there. So just a way to find those. And I don't know why that's called all industries, because I thought I didn't call it that. Sorry, I don't know. Give it a refresh. Industry. Oh, AI. I'm just dumb and I thought that said all. I'm so sorry. My brain's thinking too much here. Going back to what I was looking at, which was labor and wage trends. Okay, back to it. So our AI industries, and so we can see our average wages, cost of living, particular to those 4 industries that we grouped together. So the average annual wages as of 2025 Q3 for that cluster of industries that we created is at $71,500. So just for an instance of where we can utilize that custom industry group that we created.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No, thank you.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So then I'm going to segue us over to Data Explorer then.
All right.
Cool. All righty. So we have a couple different data sets within Data Explorer. Just to point out first, we have our industry data set. We have occupation, education, Laos, population projections, GDP, and then migration data. I think for our purposes right now, industry is what we're going to be interested in so that we can view those employment, location quotient kind of data side by side for our different regions. So are we interested in only current data, or are we interested in historical data as well?
Yes, historical data will be a good application.
Okay, cool. So if the very first thing I would do if we're planning to look at historical data, when we build out our tables, we have our different dimensions up here. I would go ahead and add our years and quarters to the table right off the bat. That's going to ensure that this is the way that I prefer to look at it. If you prefer to have those years and quarters going the other direction, you could do that. We can flip our table here. But that's one thing to keep in mind, how you build out the table. Just it's going to default to put the first dimension in that horizontal direction, and then the next one you add would be in the vertical direction up there, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Apologies for that. But yes, so we can add our years and quarters to the table by clicking that plus sign, and then we can decide to shorten that range or look at the full range. So our full range is going to be 2001 quarter one is going to be the furthest back our historical data goes, and then our most current 2025 quarter three. I'm going to shorten this just for our purposes of looking at this, but we can always expand it later as well. Okay, so we have our years and quarters on there. And then let's say we want to take a look at a couple different regions. So we can add our region element to the table, which we have as El Paso County, Texas. And then maybe we want to also add Texas to the table so we can compare to the state. And then I don't want to add all this. Are there any other regions that we could quickly add to this that you'd be interested in seeing, or for this purposes, is the county and state okay?
County, state, in national level, if possible?
So I don't think you
uh,
guys have access to the US level data from this
Oh,
entirely.
okay. Yeah, so state and county will be great.
Okay. So there are those like within those different like within the pre-built analytics where we added a couple different comparison regions, you'll be able to view US level data there. But within Data Explorer, where we're building out these tables, it's looking at exactly what your license is allowed to do. Whereas those comparison regions are allowing you to compare despite what your license limits you to, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have our county and state here, and then we have our time frame, and then we can choose which values we'd like to see. So if we want to see the employment quarterly, we can go ahead and add that. And right now it's showing us for total all industries and all employment types. So this could be somewhere where we could break out by the different employment types. So if I go ahead and add this plus sign to the table, it puts it here, which I don't know from the thing, but I don't think it'll. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So we can. So right now it's just showing the total employment, but I can click like add all here, and then it's going to add all of those different types, all the different sectors of employment, and break out the employment per each employment type. So it's showing us our total employment, which if we don't want to see the total employment, we could click the X there since we have all the other aggregators or all the other pieces. So maybe we don't want to view the total employment. We just want to see the different breakouts of the types. So now I can see as of 2024 quarter one, El Paso, Texas versus the state of Texas. Here's how much covered employment there was. Covered employment is our federal, state, local plus private. That's what's covered under the quarterly census of employment and wages. And then we have our self-employment here as well. So we can see our federal, state, local, private, self-employed. Comparison.
Can we do one exercise comparing state, county at on the aerospace?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And,
so over. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's also possible to do the same exercise for the county of El Paso, the Midland and Van Horn.
Are those as like Midland
Odessa in Texas.
County?
Yes. Yes.
And what was the other one? I'm sorry.
And Van Horn. With B as in Victor, sorry.
What was it?
B as in Victor.
Oh, V, sorry.
Van, no, I don't see it. Van, and then Van and then space Horn.
There we go. Sorry.
Yes, awesome.
The town. Yep. Good word. Data point. Because it's pulling a little bit here. Okay, yes, so that's what I was. So since this is a town, Van Horn is a town, this data set that breaks it out by the different employment types does not go down to that level. So you can view that for those counties, and I believe for ZICTAs as well, but for the, I'm gonna add a ZICTA so I can see.
Van Horn's in Hudspeth County.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to see real quick if it pulls these for the ZICTA. That might not be as popular. Because I think with the 4-quarter moving average, we can view data for all of them. It just won't give us. Yeah, so if you view the 4-quarter moving average as the employment data set, you can view for those smaller regions.
Okay.
Just to throw that out there. But for our purposes here, I'm going to go back and what was the county? I'm sorry.
The county is Van Horn, El Paso County, and Midland.
Yeah. I think
Hudspeth,
Hudspeth.
Hud, and then Speth.
thank you so much.
Yeah, there it is.
And we can remove Van Horn and just leave Hudspeth and Midland. Thank you.
Correct. Yeah. Just have to let it think. It gets so the thing here too with Data Explorer, depending on how big the tables you build out are, it sometimes will time out when it's running. So if you build out a table, because every time you change an element, it's updating the table. So you can, if it's ever times out on you, you can put it into draft mode and then finish editing the table and then export it. Just point that out. But I will get us out of draft mode because we're not doing too crazy here. Yep, so then we can view our 3 counties here side by side. We can view the covered employment. We have our federal employment, state, local, private, self-employed for our different quarters and years. And then anything you build out here can be exported to Excel, and then you can manipulate it further from there too. Depending on the types of tables you build, you can have access to different charts. So with this one, it's a little complicated of a table, not easily put into a pie graph, bar chart, column charts, and so on. But depending on what tables you set up, those are different options that are available there.
Okay.
Yep. And then.
Jessica, could you show us another good example on the functionality of the Data Explorer, but now with kind of like demographics or yeah, something just for us to know that exists. We haven't run into the need of doing something with our license, but if you could just show us like something else aside from employment.
For sure. Before we do that, though, I just want to point out when you have these tables built out, you can save them. So if it's something that, maybe build a template of some sort or something that you're going to be checking quarterly, you can save it and then you'll be able to go in and load it as well.
Okay. Great.
All right. So then just to point out within our industry data set here, we're going to have our employment, but we also have our wages along with location quotient, forecasted growth demands, establishments, and then our productivity here. So we could look at our location quotients, for instance. I'm going to remove this employment type from the table real quick here. But we can view our location quotients quarterly. So we can see within our regions here, which industry, we're looking at total all industries, but we were talking about aerospace. Then we can compare those employment, and then we have the location quotient. So in this case with Hudspeth County, there is too little of data available for us to show those quarterly values, but we do have the 4-quarter moving average values for those smaller regions. So we can view the actual quarter estimates for these larger counties, but the smaller ones. So in this case, we might want to look at the location quotient for the 4-quarter moving average if we're looking to compare those 3 counties. Just to point that out. But then to step outside of our industry data set, we also have occupation, which is going to be very similar, but with that occupation data, there are also those larger wage breakdowns here within the occupation data set. And then as far as demographics data goes,
Jessica, could you please go back and show us the trend for aerospace? I know it's going to be super small unemployment, but we're doing a study on that, and this information comes very handy.
I think, sorry, the Van Horns in Culberson County, I double checked because there should be a little bit more data since Van Horn is heavy with aerospace. So Culberson, Culberson. There it is. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia.
Culberson.
And when we see El Paso County over there, we see the employment, the entire employment for the county, but how can we see Midland total employment for aerospace?
Yes. So so this is where we're going to need to use those 4-quarter moving averages because there's a smaller amount of data here. So instead of having, I'm just going to remove these real quick so I can reset up how. So we can look at the employment 4-quarter average, and then we can add our location quotient 4-quarter average. So then it's showing us those employment values along with the location quotient.
Oh, great.
So and then like I have this only set to 2024 Q1, but we could view that data all the way back to 2001. This first, since it's a 4-quarter moving average, those first 3 quarters are going to be NA, but then we can view how that has grown over the years in the different counties. And then we should be able to, also view this on our charts here. So we have a chart
that's
option,
great.
line chart, and then that area chart as well.
Oh, would you not mind going back again to the one with colors, so I can take a look? Oh, okay. So this one we see Culver, Midland, and El Paso County, and this is very graphic. Okay, thank you.
And then this is looking at the employment. We can change the value up here if we wanted to view the location quotient, for instance, depending on which we're looking at.
Oh, great. Yeah, the comparison tool provides a lot of insight. Very useful. Okay, Jessica, I need to leave, but I'll leave you here with the team, and then once we're done, just Zonia and Humberto, if you have any questions, but this has been very enlightening. I'm looking forward to the recording, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate all the questions.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, have a great day.
You too. Okay, bye.
So we're not going to have as much questions as Roberto. But this is super helpful. So I'm a little more familiar with JobsEQ, because I run basic reports specifically for like the industries and the occupational data. And Data Explorer, I think that was something that they were showing us last time, but I don't think our training went this far in depth. So this is really informative for me to understand how to compare
for sure.
like a specific industry within different zip codes. One of the questions, or counties, one of the questions I had is, um, would it just be Texas uh areas that we can see? Because I know at the beginning of your training you went over like any zip codes that touch El Paso County, and some of those could
Mhm.
be New Mexico. Could we are we able to see that data as well?
Yeah, let me give me 1 second here to I'll pull up like your actual region picture, like what you guys are able.
Mhm.
Um, share a different screen. Not forget to email that stuff later. Here we go. So this lovely picture that is a little blurry here. Um, you should see the blue. So all the blue on the map is what you have access to.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So you guys have the state of Texas and then that surrounding area.
Great.
Would you like this picture like sent with those other ones that I'm gonna email out?
Oh yeah, that'd be great,
Yeah,
please.
for sure. I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm sharing the screen, but I'll add it to that list of things to send over. Back to Data Explorer. But yeah, so you'll have access to, and it'll, if you ever try to query for something that's now in your region, it'll throw an error for you.
Okay.
Was there anything specific you wanted to see in Data Explorer?
No,
Okay.
I think this is good starting point. For
Mhm.
me, it's easier if I see it first and then I start messing around and toggling with uh the different settings.
Mhm.
And so I'll be more familiar once I go in there and just start messing with it. But this is a good starting point for us to just understand the basics.
For sure. And then as you get into it, I mean, I feel like I've seen your name pop up in the live chat before, so I think you're familiar with
Oh
that.
yeah.
But yeah, if you to go to build one of these out and you're like, hold on, there has to be a way to do this, just reach out. We'll
Yeah.
help you get it set up for sure.
No, yeah, thank you. I appreciate your all's live chat. It's
Oh yeah,
definitely it's true to what it says. It's you all are very responsive, and yeah, you help us out a ton. So we appreciate your that feature so much.
I'm glad to hear it. We love assisting, so it's always fun to see what you guys are working on and help with the projects and stuff. Because I just get to work with the data, so it's fun to see it actually used and how it's
Yeah.
applied. Um, I'm trying to think. Robert mentioned demographics data within
Oh
like Data
yes.
Explorer. So Data Explorer does not have the specific demographics data like within demographics profile. But if you were looking to bulk pool demographic data, how we did before with the
Yeah.
we would be going to the point that you're interested in, clicking on that, and then you can view the data for all the smaller regions underneath your larger region. So
Mhm.
if you wanted to pull something for like every county in Texas, you could query this for Texas. And then when you click on the hyperlink for whichever one it is here, it's going to take us to the maps analytic and then break it out by those smaller regions. So it'll pull that data point, the poverty level of all people for every single county within Texas, and then you can export that.
Wow.
But if you guys end up needing to pull demographics data later in bulk, just let us know too. Trying to think of anything else that might be helpful here. We also have data fetch. This is more for the occupation data, which does exist within Data Explorer as well. But you can set up bulk queries for occupation data pretty simply with data fetch here. So if you're looking at bulk pulling occupation data, this might be helpful. Got my notes here.
Humberto, do you have any questions from anything you've seen? Any
No,
clarification?
so far so good. Thank you for sharing all these information and these tips.
Sure. Are you guys interested in like education data, like awards and confirmations?
I don't think I've ever seen or been on that section. But I think for the reports that Roberto wants to see, specifically for like opportunity zones, I think this would help us just to see when the section education. I guess my first question is what type of education is that?
Yeah.
Specifically for like demographic or
So sorry.
go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. It's all post-secondary awards, so it's dealing with the colleges and university data as opposed to like K-12. But for instance, the awards analytic here is like the baseline education one, I would say. But you can look at, let's say, El Paso, Texas here, and we can view all the different programs that exist within El Paso, Texas, and how many awards have been conferred. We also can look at school lists by program. So let's say we're interested in a specific program, maybe like computer science. We can view within El Paso County which schools have these programs and then how many awards they've conferred. So as far as computer science goes, it looks like we only have El Paso Community College and then the University of Texas at El Paso, and then it shows us how many of those awards they've conferred. So might not be as applicable to the overall, but I get you could maybe look at like if one of your opportunity zones has, but it just depends on where the universities are located. So it might not be as applicable to you guys, but might be something you can compare county wise or like county to nation, county to state, something like that. And then you could also look by specific schools too. So if we're interested in what El Paso Community College has to offer, it's going to show us all their different programs, how many awards they've conferred. And then if we click on these drop downs, it just shows us occupations that link to those zip codes for those academic programs.
Awesome.
Yeah, just so that you're aware it's there for you. Yeah, I feel like we've gone over a lot today. Do you guys have any other questions or anything you want to take a look at?
No, I think we're good for now. I'm definitely gonna go back to the recording to look at the first section of our training because I need to get more familiar with those tools. But I don't think I have any questions, any specific questions.
No questions. Let's hope maybe we can upgrade our license and get more of the features that you mentioned.
Yeah. I will definitely, when I put in notes to your guys' CRM, I'll mention the ones that you were interested in, and then you guys can go back and forth there, and hopefully we can work something out with those. But as soon as we're done, I'll send this recording off to our the media side of things, and they'll get it uploaded to YouTube, and hopefully either later today or early tomorrow morning, I'll have that link for you guys. And then I will send over those different documents we talked about, and then I'll do a little more research into those, into the precincts, and if I can get like the zip codes that correlate to each of those precincts to make that a little easier for you guys to mock up those regions.
Okay.
Anything
Yes,
else I can
thank
do
you.
for you? Yeah. But yeah, if anything else
Thank
comes
you.
up, if you guys have any other questions, want to schedule another training, you can reach out to your CRM or feel free to reach out to me and we can get that set up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
time.
Yeah, same.
Thank you,
guys.
Jessica. Appreciate it. Looking forward to review the recording.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too. Alrighty,
Thanks.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.